Chair recognizes Representative Tinderholt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I saw you yesterday on your way out on one airplane while we were going on another with some of your leadership. And I first want to say, give condolences from us to your organization. I know you lost someone recently from COVID, and that's where you were going yesterday. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. After a deployment, we lost Dustin.
Okay, well, our condolences.
Unfortunately, it is and of course, we won't go there.
Selfless. I mean, that just proves how selfless you and the people within your organization are. So thank you for that. And I didn't do that to get anybody emotional, and I think I just did. But I just wanted to say thank you before I ask a couple of questions. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to fly out with some of your senior leadership to the border, and I want to tell the people kind of what I saw, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions. I saw Border Patrol agents, and I saw state troopers. I saw a lot of other folks, but I'm going to use some terms that I wrote down. I saw kind, caring, humane, respectful, and professional. That's what I saw down there. I didn't see anyone being disrespectful. I saw a father juggling 2 children and a third one on the ground trying to go through the food line, and your state troopers helped them. They helped carry the food. They helped get them over to where mom was. I didn't see anything that I keep seeing on the news that's very divisive. I didn't see any of that. I saw state troopers and Border Patrol agents helping, protecting, and being kind. Is that kind of what you see when you go down? Because I know you went down the day before.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I mean, the best thing that could happen to them is that they come in contact with a trooper or Border Patrol agent and get away from the cartels.
So I heard you say a couple things, and which agency's job in Texas or in America is the job to secure our border? Who has the main mission to do that?
It's a sovereign responsibility of the federal government.
Okay,
and into the federal government, it's Department of Homeland Security, because they have all the components between Coast Guard, ICE, and CBP, OFO at the bridge, and also, as you know, Border Patrol between the ports of entry.
So as I talked to the Border Patrol agents yesterday, and so did other members, they want to do their jobs. But they openly told us that oftentimes they can't, or they're not allowed. So guess what? State troopers step up to do it. They want to do their jobs. I have a lot of friends. I was a Spanish linguist in the military that went to Border Patrol. They tell me they want to do their jobs, and they're held back. Did you ever think you would be telling the legislature or your troops 10 years? Have you been there 10 years or so?
Yes, sir. 12 years or something like that.
Did you ever think you would be telling them that part of their mission and job would be to filling in for the federal government to protect our sovereign border?
No, sir. I didn't anticipate that we'd be the state of Texas would be the ones providing them the technology they need in terms of drawbridge and detection cameras, or the aircraft. If you talk to a Border Patrol agent, the ones that respond is the DPS pilots. And so tactical teams. I would not anticipate any of those things, and I'm a little bit ashamed of our federal government for not providing the resources they need to do their job.
Well, I'm going to get there in a second, but the reason I kind of walked through those questions is, well, first of all, I want to say that there's not one state trooper in leadership or just a state trooper. One of your troopers is a friend of mine and happened to be down there at the same time. That's where they want to be. They know that they're needed there, and so they go. They don't ask questions. They leave their families for 12 days or whatever it is. They go do it. But does that pull resources from other parts of the border and from the counties where they protect citizens and they keep people from having fatality wrecks and things like that? Does that pull resources that are already thin and push them to the border?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's the sheriffs know it. We hear from the sheriffs all the time in those areas. Is it less safe when troopers go south in those areas? Yes, it is less safe. We recognize that, and at the same point, you know, the state has X amount of resources. We prioritize based on threat, and it's important that they do move. And overall, you know, the sheriffs and the chiefs of police are very supportive and understand that quagmire. They just hope that it can be addressed at some point, and we do as well.
So do you, and it's an uncomfortable question, but we have to have the facts. Have fatality accidents and crime outside the border suffered because we have to fill in for the failing federal government on not protecting the border?
Well, I would argue that it's always less safe when a trooper goes south. There's no question about it. When there's more troopers, it's physics, police 101. If you have, more law enforcement, much to the chagrin of some economists perhaps, or certainly some criminologists, but more law enforcement makes things more safe. And in the end of the day, our charge from the governor and you is to prevent, okay? Not enforce is one of the things we do, but our ultimate objective is to prevent crime and terrorism. That's goal one.
Did the vehicles lined up where they were walking across on that little makeshift dam that's there, it's real small, where they could walk across and the water was inches deep, did the makeshift wall with the state trooper vehicles work?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, I can't tell you why, but it always has when you have and of course, your military background, this is easy, as well as the chairs and others that, and I won't cite Clausewitz or Jomini, but having overwhelming resources at the point of the threat, I won't say attack, at point of the threat at the right time is absolutely imperative in public safety. Whether it's mob violence, okay, whether it's violent crime in a certain area that's out of control, or certainly when there's a border, and so doing the way it was done, did deter more from coming across.
I went through a range of emotions yesterday, from proud to frustrated to disappointed to disgusted, and I just want to walk through those real quick. I was proud when I saw the state trooper vehicles there. I was proud when I saw the Border Patrol agents and the state troopers helping the Haitian immigrants. They were helping them, albeit they were there illegally. They were humane and they treated them with dignity and respect. I was humbled when I saw children that don't know any better. They're there just like our children. They just wanted to eat, and they were being helped by the professional state troopers and Border Patrol agencies. My emotions went all the way to absolutely disgusted with the federal government and the Biden and Harris administration, because I blame them for this. When I flew in, I saw a border wall laying on the ground that was already paid for, that could be put up, and it would force individuals that are coming across illegally to be funneled into specific areas instead of having chaos like it is. And you just said that the vehicle lines lined up worked. Walls work. We have them around our homes. We have them around our business. I'm talking about walls, not fences. I'm going to leave you with a couple of things. A lot of you know I've said this before. I spent 21 years in the military. I watched America's sons and daughters die in foreign countries, some of them with me, protecting other nations' borders. Yet we're not doing it on our own, the federal government. Texas state troopers, paid for by Texas tax dollars, are filling the gap, and they're doing it in the most professional way I could ever imagine that they would do it. It's not even their job. I'm amazed. And I blame the current administration. I'm disgusted because women and children are surely being mishandled sexually and human trafficked at the border. And it lies 100% at the feet of the current federal administration, Biden and Harris. But Texans will step up. We'll step up and do what's right. We'll protect those kids. We'll protect those women. We'll protect those vulnerable men that are there. And we'll get them processed, and we'll do the right thing. But the federal government has to step up and do it so that our state troopers can get back on the road and back to their families, and that this tragedy and disgusting things that are happening to women and children at the border, they stop, and the human trafficking stops, and the drug flow stops. I'm going to leave it with that and say I was honored that I was able to spend the day with your leadership and your state troopers. I learned a lot yesterday, but I went through a huge range of emotions, and you can tell I'm very emotional about this. And I'm very thankful that you allowed us to go down there. Thank you for taking us, sir. I can't thank you enough. And on behalf of my district, the 190,000+ people in my district, thank you. Thank you for keeping Texas safe. Thank you for protecting my family, and thank you for what you and your troopers do.
Well, thank you, sir. And it's absolutely imperative that I mention at least and note the National Guard and our local partners. I mean, they've been, of course, they're always great partners, but they've stepped up as well. And as you know, the governor's authorized and you paid for, okay, substantial plus up in National Guard. So those resources were vital into this, in addressing this and going forward and expanding the perimeter, which is what we're working on right now while we contain this operation.
You're right, and there's thousands of them at the border,
sir.
and we can't thank them enough.
Yes, sir.
You know, people are often to blame the illegal immigrants coming across, but we have to de-incentivize this, and the federal government has to step up to the plate and do their job. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.